William Doolittle at your service. Will do.
Oh, I get it.
It's a Andy Bernard joke. Andrew Bernard. Yep. All right, I will tag. We are live with Luke Mickich, Mr. Pseudonymity,
It's just Sue.
Mr. Sue.
Don't make it more complicated than it is.
Hey, is that where Sue comes from, Phil? I've always been meaning to ask.
I think you have asked, but it was actually pseudo-lectual. But pseudonymous works because when I started the podcast, it was like, I don't know shit about fuck. And so I'm going to ask people about libertarianism. And so it's kind of like, I'm not trying to be an intellectual, but I'll kind of get there. So I'll be a pseudo-lectual. But people kept calling it the pseudo-intellectual show. And I'm like, no, that's completely wrong. And then I just, I don't know.
Mr. Sue and you.
Yeah. Because the show was called the Pseudo-Lectual Podcast with Mr. Sue. But then I would just change it to a boy named Sue instead because it was simpler. So,
nice.
But I like pseudonymous better.
Well, let me tell you guys, I started mining Bitcoin yesterday. Actually it was quite a process. First had to get the electrician to install some electrical outlets that were capable of running an ASIC. Then my Wi-Fi pod that was going to run down in the basement connected to it was not working. So I had to get the internet a company to come out. So yesterday I finally got to get it up and running, and this sucker is loud. Like I am on the second story of our house. It is in the basement, and I can hear it humming. It is loud. And let me say it will easily heat our house. Like no questions asked. It is pumping out some hardcore heat. The wind that it pushes is impressive. So it is it's definitely everything people say it is. It's a lot more. It's all that and more.
Perfect for the summertime.
Yeah. I have to, as soon as possible, cut a hole in my house to get a dryer duct vent out. Because I hope the AC isn't running more than it should. But I mean, you can't. It's hard to explain to people how strong the wind is, and I'll probably just put it in a video. But it is pummeling the. it's just pushing so much air out, and it will definitely heat our house. Just one ASIC will. But yeah, we're up and running, and it is. Let's see if I have that still up. Slush pool. Yep. I'm hashing right now at 113 terahashes, and have mined myself like some like 40,000 Satoshis.
Hey, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It's pretty wild to be actually mining Bitcoin. But yeah, I'm just in this like pressure moment of like my wife hasn't said anything yet about how noisy it is, and I'm just waiting for her to be like, so this is louder than we expected. So I was laying in bed last night and I could hear it. I was like, son of a bitch. Like it was
The conversation's coming. I hope you're prepared for it.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's one of those things. Like if you ever watch Modern Family, Phil Dunphy at one point, he, instead of buying a family minivan, like a reasonable van or something, he buys a sports car, And he's like, I know Claire is going to get upset. And when he gets home, she doesn't say anything. And he's like, what's her game? What's she playing right now? And that's how I feel like, where like she hasn't said anything yet. And I'm like, what is she doing? Is she just waiting for me to be like, okay, so this thing's a little loud. I'm sorry. But, and it's funny. We always joke about it, but like Phil then says to Claire at one point, he's like, don't you want to say anything? And she's like, no, you're a grown man that can make his own decisions. And he's like, since when? And it's kind of how I feel right now. I'm like, oh, but anyways, such is life with mining Bitcoin at home. It is no joke, people. It will really, really suck the electricity and pummel your house with heat and yeah, it's loud.
So
So
obviously you did the math on that to see whether or not you're going to be profitable, or do you have to wait like a month?
yeah, no,
after?
I'll be definitely profitable. Like I think it made yesterday about $12 and probably cost me like $4. Um, so I mean, it's definitely profitable. With the price being down, it's not as profitable as it could be, obviously. Um,
But shouldn't the hash power be lower if the price is down? Usually, that doesn't always have to be the golden rule, but isn't that usually the?
that usually was the case, but like hash power is getting like all-time highs. It did just adjust
Everyone's
down,
aping
like
in.
yeah, it
Hash is
did.
going parabolic.
Yep,
Absolutely parabolic.
it did just
Can we
adjust
talk about
down
that for the
5%.
news? Anyone know any deets on that?
Yeah, so I mean it is like hash power is hovering at like all-time highs. It did just adjust down with like 4%, 4.5%. um but like then I looked at the grand scheme of things and it's still hash power is an all-time high. So I am curious as to what that means, because I mean to me personally I think that means that we're not only like near like at the bottom, but there probably will be a rip up. um because I look at it like now I'm mining and it's like, okay, like it's meager profitability, like that's okay, it's at least profitable. I think it would be profitable to mine Bitcoin for me all the way down to like the like 11,000 range. um but you got to think about
11,000 what?
11,000 Bitcoin price. Like if the price of Bitcoin at the current hash rate, in my current electric rate, if the price of Bitcoin was at 11,000, I'd be breaking even.
So that's never going to happen.
Yeah. But like, think about it from like, so that's just me mining at home. But like, think about all the industrial like complexes that are pushing, mining and coming on board.
Oh, yeah, no joke.
And
They're
like,
killing
I'm,
it.
I'm kind of curious, like, to look at this. I've been paying attention to it for the long haul, but I want like the theory that like mining cost basically will set the floor of the Bitcoin price, because like the miners aren't going to let it go below, you know what I mean? And like the people that are setting up mining infrastructure aren't just gonna like switch off whenever it gets, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's all over, guys. Maybe they'll, power down 10% and wait for the price to rebound. I don't know, but I think that it's an interesting aspect that electricity is the electrical usage is setting the floor of the price. Um, because so like I was saying, it's profitable right now, but for it to be like insanely profitable, the price of Bitcoin has to like 3x. Um, and all these companies have aped into Bitcoin mining, and are going to continue to ape into Bitcoin mining. That I think that kind of run up is necessary. Um, and maybe for the mining companies, that ones that aren't just straight hodling, maybe that will be like, at 3x's, rides there for a little bit and then comes down because they maybe sell off to, to, suit their bottom line. I don't know. This is all me just speculating and not giving financial advice. I'm just, talking about the possibilities of how I think mining could sway the price of Bitcoin. Um, and I've been mining for a whole day, so I obviously am an expert in this. But yeah, I mean, it's wild. I'm DMing people left and right, like, what do I do about this heat? What can I do to get the noise down? And yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I'd be profitable all the way
Can't
down to
stand the
11K.
heat. Get out of the kitchen.
Exactly. So when are you gonna fire one up, Luke? And you gonna just carry one in your computer bag as you travel the world?
Yeah, exactly. I'll
If he's not
plant one in
labeled a
Peru this
terrorist.
week. Yeah. I'll just mining mining definitely works for me at the moment. I just drop one in every country and hide it in the roof of an Airbnb, and off I go. It'll continue hashing for me. No, I wish I had sometimes I wish I had a little bit of a more stable kind of living arrangement so I could hash, but it's not in the cards for me.
It's not meant to be for you. What about you, Mr. Sue Philip?
What,
You gonna
mining? No.
you gonna mine whenever you get your own
No.
place?
No.
Why not?
That's not my job.
If you can source non-KYC sats, like for example, if I didn't, probably shouldn't say that on a live stream, but hypothetically, if somebody didn't have non-KYC sats, I would encourage them relentlessly to go out there and mine, because it's so easy to get non-KYC sats. I'm not too phased about it myself because I have my affairs in order. But yeah, non-KYC sats, everybody should have some.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing for me outside of the profitability and testing that out is I'm like, hey, worst case scenario, if over a 5-year period I transition a good chunk of sats from KYC to non KYC, because let's just put it this way, my electrical bill and everything, like all the sats coming in on the Bitcoin miner are going into cold storage and staying there. And everything I've bought off of an exchange will at some point over however long it takes, maybe takes a decade, will be sent to the exchange and sold in exchange for dollars that I can pay my electrical bill with. So it's funny. I said it on my pod when I was talking about Bitcoin mining, but like it was just because I was watching Ozark, but it was like it felt like in Ozark, they're doing like money laundering. So I was like, I'm not saying money laundering. It is just like you're getting clean sats in exchange for those dirty sats.
Great show, by the way. Ozark's brilliant. And like
great.
The way, if somebody's listening in and they've got KYC sats and they want to dump that because they don't want the daddy government to know how much Bitcoin they own, the best way to go about it is sell your KYC sats when the price is low, so you get less of a tax hit. That personally what I did, and that's just the thing that makes most sense. I would dump any KYC sats you've got now while the price is relatively low. Take the small tax hit. You're probably going to get a tax bill, but I see it as a short-term kind of investment. You pay the tax now and you don't need to worry about the exorbitant capital gains tax or unrealized capital gains tax that could come down the pipeline. Obviously, nobody knows what's going to happen, but I think it's well worth having at least a non-KYC stack. Everybody should have a portion of their net worth in anonymous Bitcoin.
Agreed. All right, so off of Bitcoin mining, one of the first topics we want to talk about on News Made Simple, where we say the quiet parts out loud. Did you guys hear that?
What?
You've got the whisper down.
I said
perfect.
We say the quiet parts out loud. So Luna 2.0, I saw this on Twitter when I was on the can just before we started recording. What in the hell? They're relaunching it.
Makes sense if Andreessen Horowitz just like dumped like 4.5 billion in crypto projects. So maybe they're making a comeback with this bullshit. Maybe.
I mean, is anyone going to trust that?
I mean, there's plenty of stupid money out there.
But they just got burned.
Steroids. It's a bailout. That's what it is. I saw a thread that was kind of articulating how it's making the larger whales hole, and it's kind of helping them out a lot more than it is helping the little guy out. But essentially, they're just printing new tokens out of thin air, calling it Luna 2.0.
I mean, this is such a grand this is such a disaster on a grand scale. Like it's just falling apart. And it's like happening so quickly, showing what fiat really is. Because that's what Luna is. It's just fiat. It's central banking on a blockchain, sort of. Any thoughts on that? Or we move in subjects?
Yeah, it's kind of funny how, I mean, it's like the crypto industry just parallel to the fiat that we're trying to escape. Like Uncle Jim and I are going to do chapter 2 tomorrow of The Creature from Jekyll Island, and the name of the game is Bailout. And so we're just seeing a direct parallel from the crypto world to from the financial fiat schemes that they've been doing for decades.
Which, by the way, definitely shout out to you guys. That was an enjoyable episode. I mean,
Good. I hope it was cogent and coherent all throughout, and people learned something, took something away from that.
Because it's a heck of a book to get through. So
it is.
It's nice to have a read along with you. Yeah. I mean, central banking, whether it's in the Fed or whether it's in the crypto world, is always gonna fail, because central planning is central, or failing is central to central planning.
Yeah.
But okay,
and
so
it's not the banks that, it's not because of the failure of the banks that caused the chaos. It was the failure of the system itself that caused the banks to fail. And so that's always important to remember, even though that crypto is like a quote unquote like free market experience in a way, they are designed to fail in this way. And that design infrastructure is just basically the excuse for the bailout Andreessen Horowitz to swoop in and say, "Oh, round 2, let's go."
It's crazy. So they are bailing out specifically. He's bailing out specifically Luna 2.0. Like he's making Luna 2.0 with 4.5 billion. Essentially, is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I saw it in a headline somewhere. I didn't have that as a news item for today.
Sorry, yeah, I just kind of sprung it on you. But all right, so let's get to the news items. Phil, what do you want to bring up first?
Well, JP Morgan, I think, is just showing their true colors of where they're ultimately going to have to be forced to stand when it comes to the crypto world. And they released statements earlier this week basically saying that crypto and Bitcoin are now its preferred alternative asset class, whether they like it or not. And you keep seeing reports saying that as much as Jamie Dimon doesn't like it, the customer is always right to them, and customers keep demanding Bitcoin products. And there was another Zero Hedge report basically pointing out a few things that, crypto assets have just been resilient, and people have looked at them as safe haven assets, especially after the past 2 years. And crypto's survived the 2018-2019 bear market and all this kind of stuff. And ultimately what this boils down to is, you have, from my thesis and my Luongan thesis, is that you have Team Davos versus Team Fed. And Team Fed wants you build their new infrastructure on top of Bitcoin rather than Ethereum or Ripple, which is what I think Davos is going to work on, because those are centralized tools, and they want their CBDC issued from the IMF, and they want to crush the European Union economy. And I think that was very much demonstrated in this week's Davos event that they put on in Switzerland. There was a interview with Christine Lagarde, which was so revealing. So it was hilarious. This fucking evil psycho bitch just being put on the spotlight when presented with a chart of inflation, and whoever was interviewing her was just like, how do you think it's going to can you sleep at night? How do you fix this? And she's just like, with due time it will come. I think about this every single day, and I had to wake up with this problem. So with due time, it will fix itself.
It'll just fix
watch.
itself.
And this, oh my god, and
That was the most outrageous video I've ever seen in my life. Actually, out of all the videos I've seen in my Bitcoin journey, that was one of the most outrageous. The guy pulled up a chart of the ECB's balance sheet, and he goes, "Have a look at it. It's gone from 0 to 8 trillion euros. How do you sleep at night with this?" It was mad. She was so uncomfortable, dude.
And it's not because she doesn't know how she's gonna fix it. The plan is she doesn't plan on fixing it. Like this is just like planned obsolescence of an economy. That's what it is. They want to destroy the like economic power that the people have, and so they feel that pain and they run to the state for an alternative. And that's where this CBDC comes from, MMT to, infinity. That's what they want. And she knows exactly what the fuck Bitcoin is and how it works. Now, Richard Dickerson, whatever, like I retweeted his thing where it's like, wow, she clearly doesn't understand what this is. And I quote tweeted him saying, no, dude, she knows exactly what the fuck it is. And she's terrified and she's shitting herself because she knows that this is her enemy. And you just have some kid in the audience ask her, I hate how like foreigners like have to refer to like Bitcoin in general as like cryptos. It's just like, maybe that's a colloquialism, or maybe they are all just shitcoin. I don't know. They probably are. Who knows? But when asked, like some kid who's probably like 19 or something, like Miss Lagarde, do you own cryptos yourself? And also, it's funny how they all speak English. Like they have like heavy European, like German, whatever accents, but they all like speak English fairly well. Interesting. But yeah, like when asked, like, do you own cryptos? And she's like, no, I would not touch it with like a 10-foot pole or whatever the hell she said. But my son owns cryptos. And so I follow the markets very closely. And then the interviewer guy was just like, how did your son perform? And she's like, he would not say. It's just like, they know exactly what this is. They have their thumb on top of it. I mean, as much as they can. But this is just
it's funny.
It just speaks truth to power, or at least speaks truth to how powerless they are and how much that they're just trying to. I mean, they're just like they put baby in a corner and they're petrified. And also, you're seeing that how petrified they are. When same at Davos when you had George Soros kind of, get all shaken up, like we need to try to win this thing in Ukraine. And then you have Henry Kissinger, you like 2 90-year-olds basically kind of like butting heads, like, no, like Kissinger is taking this rational approach where they need to look at this and they're like, we need to try to either back out of this or just be as as realistic with this approach as possible. We need to come to some sort of like a consensus with this war thing. And it's really, they're running out of options. Like the whole Davos plan is running out of options because they are left with just like going with as many like nuclear options as possible. There's like the continuation of the war in Ukraine, but you have like people speaking out in Europe that they don't want to continue this. And it's just, again, like I mentioned in the past on the shows, is that they're coming to they're faced with nothing else, and they're just kind of panicking at this point.
It's funny,
and I think Christine Lagarde and her posturing like against Bitcoin and cryptos is is a great example of this, because
Christine Lagarde,
they just really want the European economy to shatter like right now, so they can just like go nuclear and do the panopticon CBDC thing.
it's a race to see who can destroy it faster.
Yeah, it's a race to the bottom, very much.
And it's funny that Christine Lagarde said she wouldn't touch Bitcoin with a 10-foot pole, but that sunburnt face suggests that she could touch the sun with a 10-foot pole, because she is like scorched earth, like the most
She's the burnt
leather.
lobster. She earned her name for good reason. She is the burnt lobster.
Yeah, that is exactly what she is. I mean, she is. I just don't think. I don't think they are willing to accept the fact that it's over for them, which it is. We know it is. They're just going to be, quiet. It was funny. Maybe it was my anniversary present when we were out to dinner. My wife actually let me talk, and she seemed entertained by the discussion of the bigger picture of everything that was going on. And I've said this so many times about, like, if you're the people at the helm, if you are Klaus Schwab, whose families for hundreds and thousands of years potentially have been at the helm of the world, and you're going to lose the control, like, what are you going to do? You're just going to like let that happen, be like, oh, it happened on my watch? No, you're going to flip out and flail and lose your mind. And then you have like people like Lagarde and other people that are, no, they're not the 12 families that control the world, but they're a part of this in some way.
Yeah, and like one last point on this, going back to the JP Morgan thing, and they're being relatively bullish on Bitcoin, or their own poison pill that they are going to be embracing reluctantly just because of market demand. I mean, they said that Bitcoin is 28% like undervalued, and they think it really should be like 38,000 right now. And essentially, again, this is all about, what does Davos's agenda really mean for the current capitalist structure in America that we understand it today? It means that they lose all their power. So the banks, the commercial banks, the Fed, the regional banks, they lose all power if Davos is able to swoop in and get rid of them and have people just have a CBDC issued from like a Fed account. And so having a centralized like crypto, whether it's Ripple or Ethereum, whatever, strips out the power of the banks. That's what they are fighting to preserve. And they want to have their own like centralized thing, but they probably want to have it built on top of something that is completely the antithesis of whatever these Devosians want. And so that's why I think it's going to be Bitcoin. And I think it's just evidence of like this bifurcation of world powers when you have these reports and of capitulation from JP Morgan. So I think that's really just kind of where things are heading, because they see the writing on the wall and they're not going to have any other choice, simply because demand from the consumer and markets win out ultimately.
What do you think, Luke?
I think it's pretty interesting and pretty beautiful that at the same week you have the World Economic Forum and all of these central bankers at the annual Davos meeting talking about how they're going to enslave us with CBDCs. At the exact same time, you have the 2022 Oslo Freedom Forum going on, where you have people from all around the world talking about how Bitcoin's a freedom tool. So I think that's very interesting. I think it's beautiful.
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 So do you I mean, do you think this is short-term bullish? What do you think JP Morgan coming in? Because the other news item is JP Morgan, saying it's undervalued by 25%.
28.
28%?
Yeah.
So it's undervalued by 28%, which, first of all, I tweeted out, I said that puts us around the 38K gang. So whoever's in the 38K gang can get back together. Bitcoin Twitter will understand that. But I don't know. I mean, what is it? Just are they going to accept that this is the way forward and it's their only way to win?
Well, they've been fighting it for the past 12 to 18 months. Like all of the news FUD, all of the bearish sentiments, that's all been deliberately whipped up and made so that these big boys like JP Morgan can fill up their bags. I've been screaming this from the rooftops. Like this entire past 12 to 18 months of sideways price action is going to be the biggest head fake in financial markets history. Everybody's expecting us to, go into one of these 85% bear markets with a, 6 to 12 month bottom. And I just don't think that's the case. I think you're watching on-chain data show that coins continue leaving exchanges and they're going to the hands of wallets who aren't selling their Bitcoin. I think the people who are accumulating the Bitcoin, the long-term holders, are people like JP Morgan. I think they're central bankers. I think they're like the central bankers, the 44 of them from 44 different countries that just met up in El Salvador last week to get orange pilled by Nayib Bukele. I think we're watching the biggest mismatch between price and underlying fundamentals in any market in financial markets history. So I'm bullish. I'm always bullish.
Luke, you should put your camera on so that you can show people. I know the lighting's terrible, but show people where you're at.
You reckon they want to see the view?
Yeah.
I might whip that out.
Plus,
but what do you got?
Plus, if you show up on the live stream, then all the women are going to come swooning in to see your smooth chicken legs.
Get out of it. The chicken legs. I don't know how to turn my camera around. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is the view I'm rocking at the moment. It's pretty sexy. We've got the volcanoes there.
How's that what those are? That's cool.
Yeah. Sunsets here are gorgeous. But yeah, what do you think about price, Phil?
About price?
Yeah. What do you think about JP Morgan coming out and saying, yeah, we're bullish on Bitcoin? Do you think they've been quietly accumulating this dip?
Yeah, no doubt. They absolutely are. Anyone in any position of authority in the financial world is absolutely doing this.
So do you think if they're starting to say things like, oh, it should be 25% more. Oh, there are the legs. There they are. You tried to get them out of the view as soon as you saw it was on there. He feel you missed it. He slyly tried to pull his leg back, like, whoop.
I don't think he has chicken legs. He has nice legs.
Thanks, Dad. Trying to get some sun on it.
But yeah, the I wonder if this is like a signal that if let's just say hypothetically that they have been accumulating, that this is a signal that they need the price to go up a little bit. They don't want it to run away. They want it to stay as low as they can have it forever. But they also bought the asset to have it start going up in price. So what do you guys think?
I mean, they want it as low as possible, and they're doing that with all sound assets. I mean, gold and monetary and industrial metals have been kind of doing the same thing Bitcoin has, because it's just this paper manipulation for accumulation by the ones that have the most stake in this. And Bitcoin's being affected by that with futures markets as well.
Yeah.
And so,
do you think
Bitcoin is still following risk on assets too.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives them a position to control the price as much as they can. It gives them an excuse and a reason to keep accumulating. And I think, JP Morgan, I haven't really looked too much into this, but it wouldn't surprise me that they have some sort of ownership in miners, whether it's Riot or Mara or what have you. And the more investment that goes into these mining companies, the better. I think that's what the kind of swing shot roundabout way of of large financial institutions accumulating more Bitcoin. If you want to tie it to your Bitcoin mining, Cory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that maybe they're trying to just play this game. They want to keep it as low as possible while they can, but they need to start signaling the price to go higher the closer they get to everything melting down in the rest of the world, if that makes sense. So like, do you think they're playing this game of chicken where they're like, okay, we gotta eventually we got to get our we have to have the exit, and it's going to go, well, not exit, but we have to have the velocity go up and the price of Bitcoin moon in order to protect against. So they want to keep it low until the financial institutions implode and everything falls apart and currencies fail, and then at that point they can announce that they have a position.
I mean, it sounds like you're implying also that the dollar would have to fail, where they'll ultimately go to this thing to protect the dollar for as long as they can.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're so dollar bulls. That is their stable coin. So again, you have to remember, Team Davos versus Team Fed. Davos is destroying the credibility of the United States and deteriorating the dollar's power. The United States, Team Fed, Powell, is trying to do the opposite by tightening with QT, which doesn't start until like the summer sometime, and increasing the reverse repo payout rate, increasing the Fed funds rate. And as this happens, I think this is a way to kind of like destroy capital, force a recession, and also lower the price of assets, which gives them an opportunity to scoop up harder assets like more gold and Bitcoin. And ultimately, I think they will accumulate as much as possible in order to not have a peg to the dollar, but ultimately the nation with the hardest assets is the one that is going to be the most credible, as well as just showing that your currency and the increased demand for your currency is still going to be a vital thing. And Davos wants to do the exact opposite. And that's why you're seeing, that $8 trillion on the ECB balance sheet not budging. That's why you're seeing QE continue. And it's just the opposite playbook that the Fed wants to do. And you have like market bros coming out and saying, oh, well, when's the Fed going to capitulate? They're going to have to. Fuck you. That's not happening. Like, cry in your beer. Cry harder. Get used to it. Get used to an actual bear market in treasuries. Get used to a bear market in the Dow. Well, the Dow went up, but
does that mean a bit bear market in Bitcoin?
Well, we're already in that, so yes.
Luke doesn't agree. Luke thinks that we're in.
Well, Luke's fucking in denial, so.
Fuck off. We're in a different kind of bear market. I think we're in a different Bitcoin 2.0 bear market. I don't think we're in a traditional 85% correction bear market. Hey, if we go to 11K, Phil, I will happily eat my words all over Twitter and everywhere.
I never said anything about 11K. We're not going to 11K. We could go to 20, I think.
That's a traditional bear market. Traditional bear market, 85% correction from the top, takes you to, I think it's about 11 or 12K. I don't think we're going there. And I
don't think you're into now. We're full of shit. We probably agree. I still need to have you on the show to, open up your thesis and so I can learn. But yeah, dude, like, it'd be great if we can get to 20. So like major accumulation happens. But yeah, this just shows. I was watching one of Tom's market reports the other day, and like the volatility, I think is arguably like out right now. Like all the dumb capital has just been liquidated. And I think right now this is kind of like the support range for the current price.
Yeah. I feel that as well. I hate short-term price predictions, everybody knows I think Bitcoin's going to be worth $65 million by the end of the decade. Obviously,
Nice.
predicting the exact path to get there. I don't know how it's going to get there, like year by year, month by month, but I feel as if that 33K was a little bit of a bottom. I still don't know if power is going to pivot or not. I'm still literally, I have splinters on my balls on the whole power pivot situation. I don't know how I feel. I don't know whether the Fed will continue aggressively raising rates.
They will.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I'm 50-50 now. 3 months ago, I was 100%. They're never going to raise rates and keep them up sustainably because they're going to blow everything up. But now with the whole Tom Luongo bullish USD thesis, it nearly makes a little bit of sense. If you blow things up, who's it going to hurt more than the United States? It's going to hurt the European Union. But I'm still 50-50 on it. I don't know which way it's going to go. If the treasury market ceases to function, the Fed might actually have to reverse and do a little bit of a power pivot because that obviously affects the United States government. So it's interesting. The treasury market does look a little bit illiquid in the past couple of weeks. It looks like it's not functioning as it normally does. So I'm watching that.
Yeah, but again, that's a very short-term analysis.
Yeah. Well, like 2020, when the treasury market didn't function for a week, the Fed had to come out and announce QE infinity. That was like 6 days of illiquidity in the treasury market.
Well, yeah, but now we're trying to undo all that. I mean, no one had a choice but to do QE in 2020. Now we have to unwind and show creditworthiness and credibility by using tightening tools. And yeah, like there's no other option.
The one thing I'm sure on is Bitcoin's going to be worth well into the 8 figures by the end of the decade. It's going to be well over $10 million a coin in today's dollars, not hyperinflation. But the thing I'm uncertain on is whether we do get a power pivot or not. I am 50-50 on that. So grab your popcorn, plebs. The next couple of months should be very, very interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm going to die on this hill, and rates are going to keep going up because they don't have any other option. Why would they capitulate and undo all the hard work that they've been trying to do since June of 2021? So that's where I see this heading. I mean, they just want to slowly bleed out Davos dry because all this is a power grab. So,
and what does that mean for Bitcoin then?
I mean, Bitcoin wins either way, but I'd rather live under a strong dollar kind of implosion rather than be a CBDC slave under these fucking white old European money eugenicists, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Well, and I should also mention our sponsor, the BitBox02 hardware wallet.
Speaking of Europeans, I was kidding.
We love them. They're the good part of Switzerland. They're not in Davos. But yeah,
based.
Get your keys off of the exchange, plebs. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin made simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin made simple to get 5% off because like if you're like me and you started mining, you're gonna want to get those clean sats into a nice clean and, as Luke says, sleek and sexy hardware wallet. And you plebs, we can tell, are buying them up because we can tell people are using the code. You guys are buying them up because you guys are taking Luke's advice, and it's not so much about the security of your keys, it's about the sexiness of your keys for Luke.
Damn straight. You got to get yourself a sleek and sexy BitBox02 hardware wallet. And we never mince our words either. Like if anyone needs help setting up a BitBox02, reach out to any three of us. And I mean, we're more than happy to help you guys out because taking like self-custody of your coins, taking that first step, that's the scariest step. And, sometimes people need a little bit of a hand held along the way, but, reach out. We're happy to help. Get your keys into your own custody, get your coins off Coinbase, get it off Celsius. Two of the largest exchanges in America have just come out and said, hey, look, we're insolvent. And if we go bankrupt, we can steal your Bitcoin. So take action.
Hey, what did you guys think of? I didn't really look into it too much, but I saw a screen grab or a still image from Davos, the meetings in Davos, and it was like they were looking at how they were going to control the crypto market, and like Coinbase and Gemini and Celsius, everybody, all those companies' names were there on the slide.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
Yeah, Ethereum, Chainlink, Consensus, all of your favorite quote unquote decentralized and freedom enabling shitcoins. They were all there with the World Economic Forum. It just shows that these corrupt institutions will control what they can control. And that is all of the other 19,000 quote unquote cryptos. And I think it's very damning that you see all of those names there on the World Economic Forum slide.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just remember that Putin also used to go to those things, and he's basically off the reservation, and Davos hates him. And you have to remember, like, okay, but like Lightning Labs is also on that roster, and so is Strike. So you need to just keep in mind that it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend thesis, and these people are just going there to see how these sick fucks actually think. So the majority of them will be compromised, probably, but I think there's some strategy behind this. Yes, there's a list of cryptos and projects that Davos likes, but I don't know. Just
I just want to know why they don't like movies.
Bifurcation is the word of this decade, people.
Mm-hmm.
We're having a complete split in power, and it's just it's common sense. Like, cartels break up because of incentive.
Yep.
Like, I don't think I've explained myself like multiple times on this episode. Like, it's not as cut and dry easy. Like, everyone that meets at Davos is gonna fucking enslave the world.
They're not all best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know why they don't have Movies Plus on their slide.
You need to launch a shit coin, Cory. That's why.
That's what it is. I tell you what, I mean, if anybody wants to stop, if any of those powers that be want to stop the freedom of speech train, just come in and offer us a pile of money, and that we can't say no to, and that'd be really hard. I'm talking, I wouldn't make a shitcoin. I'm talking buy the company. We'd all look at each other like, huh.
So we can buy a pile of Bitcoin and then go start up Movies Plus 2.0 just down the road.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I was having this conversation with somebody, and I was telling my wife too. I was like, I wonder how much pressure we're under, like with things like trying to be freedom of speech focused, and like how much attention that gets. Cause like, I'll give you this, like, so we have like hundreds of thousands of app downloads and like customers that have downloaded and are coming on. So we're doing well, but like we'll get suppressed. And then like all of a sudden you'll see a crack in the armor where like if the suppression comes off and the shadow banning of the company in the app stores comes off, where like we'll just do gangbusters and like have massive spikes in downloads. And I don't know, I was telling my wife, I said, it was like, it's funny because I feel like, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but like if somebody's trying to stifle free speech, and maybe, I'm not saying they're targeting Movies Plus in particular, just, like companies like us that, are trying to fight for free speech. I said, it gets to the point where like I do in my mind, maybe a couple months ago, I was like, God, if somebody just came in and offered us like a boatload of cash to buy the company, I'd wash my hands of it and just walk away. I
mean, I don't blame you. And that's,
but
it's
like,
kind of like the Elon approach, right? Whether he takes advantage of his ESG credits or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that kind of big money is corporate, probably government money somehow secondarily. And I think it's really the ultimate like Austrian like free market play. Fuck you to the system, because like sure, maybe you're taking government money or you're just taking corrupted money, but it's still money kind of coming from the same place, and it's kind of like you're taking your money back from them in a sense. And
Well,
at the end of the day, it's also fuck you money. Like you
Yeah.
have this money, you can go buy Bitcoin with it, like Luke mentioned. And
Yeah.
so like it's just you following like they're like, this is human action. Like, why
Yep.
are you taking this action to like better yourself, and you can provide for your family now, and or start something new and hire more people? Just it's about like, I don't know, like money is
Yeah.
more
No,
money,
no.
sadly, is like the ultimate form of self-sovereignty.
No, I agree. I mean, and that's what I was, telling my wife. I said, like, it's hard because, I feel like the like shadow banning and the roadblocks that we hit kind of, it like puts you in that position where it could get swept out. And then like, but now like it's like I weathered the storm, things are going well. Things are going up. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't take it. Like if somebody came in and offered us a pile of money right now, I wouldn't, because there's a bigger fight. There's also more money to be made. And we're not financially desperate as a company. But yeah, it's I've been reminded that there's a bigger fight here. It's not about the money, as the Joker says. It's about sending a message. And but ultimately, if you send the right message, then there will be money that comes. So it's like there could be instant gratification of somebody coming in and taking over, or there could be the um deferred gratification, which is basically lowering your time preference, which is basically what Bitcoiners are known for.
Yeah, and Corey, you said that y'all are benefiting from when shadow banning happens, like you get more downloads.
No. I think we're getting like suppressed in the app stores, but then like a crack, like then like there would just be cracks in the art, like where all of a sudden it'll explode like exponentially. Like I'm talking like on a random day, like a 500-600% increase in downloads, and then it gets shut down immediately again. And we're like, what the hell?
Well, it sounds like free speech is anti-fragile, and your company is just a manifestation of that.
Yep. Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean,
You're
we'll
speaking
see.
truth to power and saying the quiet parts out loud with your mission,
Yep.
and people pick that up.
So yeah, hey, all of you plebs, this is my shameless plug for Movies Plus, but seriously,
It's not shameless.
go for it, because we're the freedom of speech platform. I just had a conversation with a Bitcoin documentary yesterday, and hopefully it's not even something that's done yet. And hopefully we can work something out. But the more of you plebs that support Bitcoin and support Movies Plus, you guys will bring us to the position where we can just no brainer make decisions and say, let's go, green light this, green light that. That's what I can't wait to. That's the hardest part right now, is I'm waiting to get to the point where I can just start pointing my finger at things and say, here you go make that. Like, you want to make that documentary about Bitcoin? Cool, here's 60 grand, go make it, whatever it costs. Can't wait. It's just, I have to be patient.
I backtrack. I guess it is shame. Like, we should have no shame about this, but I don't know. It just feels very cucked to say like shameless plugs. Like, well, yeah, like fuck you. Like, this is my company, so
Yeah.
you're listening to my show, and I do this. I have this company too, so this is part of the ride. Like, get used to it, because what
That's
I'm
how we're
showing.
gonna get. That's how we're gonna get Phil off of fiat.
Hopefully,
The company needs to be so profitable that Phil can then just become part of the company.
green lights.
Green light, go, green light, go. Well, with that all being said, if you guys don't have anything else, I guess we could just thank our sponsor one more time, the BitBox O2 hardware wallet from Shift Crypto. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin Made Simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin Made Simple to get 5% off, like many of your fellow plebs have already done, because we can see that. So when you buy, we get a little email that says, hey, somebody bought, and that's cool, because that means you guys are taking custody of your coins and doing it in the best, sexiest way possible. So any final thoughts, or where do you guys think we're at 29,000? Where are we going to be next week?
Wait, did I win?
What did you say?
Did I win the bet?
I don't know. We got to get better at this. We
We
got to.
do.
I think we're going to be above 29 next week. I think we'll be in the 30s.
Okay, yeah, I'll just get like 30. 30 and a half.
30 and a half. All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. We say the quiet parts. We say them really loud. We say the quiet parts out loud. I hope that doesn't give anybody some kind of weird. What is that? What's the NTS something, and some kind of acronym for the.
When
When they hear all the whispering,
shit.
and it really bothers them, and it drives them nuts, or it gets the hair on the back.
ASMR.
Yeah, gets the ASMR, gets the hair on the back of their necks to stand up.
Tingles.
Little tingles, for women, you might not understand this, but for men, we all know what it's like to, in the middle of the night, go take a piss and shiver for no reason whatsoever. Because I always I blame that on the movie The Sixth Sense, because he's going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and a dead person walks behind him across the doorway. So I swear I feel that every time. But anyways, all right, plebs, we will catch you guys next week. Thanks as always, and we will talk to you later.
Peace.